Back in 2018, my dad came down to a house that I recently just purchased, and I asked him if he could help me install a fence. So he agreed, and over a course of 5 days in rainy, wet weather, we made the fence and we dug the holes and did the whole process and we recorded everything. So we're going to show you the pictures of the progress that we made and how it came about. The first thing that me and my dad did was mark out 8 feet along the lines that we had pre-designated out. And so with that, that's where the post would go. So we rented an auger from Home Depot, and it was a two-man auger. So my dad stood on one side and I stood on the other side, and we drilled. And so we went down about 3.5 to 4 feet on each hole, just so that the post would have a firm foundation. And then once we had all of our holes, we put the 4x4 posts in. And then once the posts were in, then we surrounded it with concrete and let it set. You can see here that this is just a different angle of the 4x4 post that we put in. And we also used a string as a marker to make sure that we were level going down and making sure that none of the 4x4 posts were off center or anything like that. So when we put in the fence, the actual fencing pieces, that they would canter or not be level. So you want to make sure that you have a string so that all of them are parallel. One of the things that my dad suggested was using strips of plywood to stabilize the 4x4 so that they wouldn't move because the concrete's so wet. And we did this on both sides, and we used a level to make sure that it was straight up and down. And you might want to use this if your concrete's not setting quickly, and just to make sure that it's not going to ruin you in the end. We have all the stakes in place, and we're just going back and making sure that everything's level and where it should be. This is one of the bigger projects that I've done with my dad, and it's really nice knowing that I can use all of the skills that he's taught me in life on this particular project. And I remember helping him around the house that I grew up in, and it's really satisfying to know that it's come full circle, and now he's helping me on my house on the things that I have to do. So it's really nice, and it's really great to work with my dad on this kind of stuff. Definitely memories to be had. On the bottom of these fence panels, you can see that we used a 2x4 to raise up the panels slightly, and that's just to make sure that the top stays level and that we have a nice flush edge. So just a little trick is that if you use the 2x4, it's ideally going to stay level if you're on level ground. Once you get in a rhythm, the panels start going up relatively quickly. And as you can see here, this probably took us maybe 45 minutes to get all these panels up so far. And you can kind of see on the corner there that there's a little bit of a gap. That's intentional because you don't want them to butt up right against each other. So you'll put two slabs of the fence paneling together, and that'll make a nice corner piece for. So before we started hanging the fence paneling, we cut strips of plywood to brace the other side of the post as we put the fence on. So this way it's not going to sway any more than what it needs to, and it's going to stay firmly in place. So you can see here, here's the gate that we had. The metal pole on the bottom is just to secure it, so if my dog is jumping on the other side of the fence, it won't rock at the bottom, and it makes it a little bit more stable. You can see it coming down the driveway here, and it looks pretty good. And one thing that you can kind of notice on the bottom is that we had to raise the bottom of the fence up a little bit just so that the top would stay even. So the bottom's lifted just a smidge, and that's how you get the top row even. You can take a look here at the latch right here. It's just a simple latch that goes over this, and down here we have a spring wheel. So anytime it hits the concrete or anything like that, it automatically pushes up on the spring. So that's kind of nice. So as you can see here, we have the posts, and they're set every 8 feet apart. And we use these sticks to stabilize them when we put in the posts. for the holes that we dug. So if you come up a little bit closer, we split each section of the fencing to where half of it meets right here. So each half of the fence is on this post. So that's what's holding it. So right down the middle, there'd be a line on the other side, but they're butted up so that you can't really tell.